I think I'm living proof that like you don't have to be like a genius or like super talented to have a successful wholesaling business. I think a lot of people would probably want to know that like it doesn't take anything super special to be able to do this, but it does take hard work. So yeah, I was never the most like talented or anything like that. I knew I could work hard and I was willing to put in the hours, especially before I had a wife and a little one. I was putting in all kinds of hours. But anybody willing to put in the work and actually like pay the mentors, just pay what it costs, it'll be worth it in the end.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us for today's episode of Disruptors. Today we have Matt Rostosky with Cash Offer Kentucky. And Matt flew in from Louisville, Kentucky, talk about how he did $5 million in sales last year and is on pace to double it this very year. Guys, I'm on a mission to create 100 millionaires. The information on this show alone is enough to help you become a millionaire in the next 5 to 7 years. If you'll take consistent action, you'll become one. And guys, if you get value out of today's show, please share this episode. That way we can all grow together. You ready?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. So first question is, what was your life like right before you got into real estate?
Awesome. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on the show, Steve. I've always been a huge fan of your show. I first started getting into this show actually around the Nick Perry episode.
Okay.
And I listened to his episode while I was jogging. And this Nick Perry guy was talking about doing nationwide PPC, and that was the first time I ever heard of that concept of doing nationwide. And so I was like, oh man, that's really cool. And then I was like, I hope I can one day do good enough to make an appearance on Steve Trang's podcast. That'd be really
awesome.
neat. And here I am. So very cool.
Yeah.
But back to your question. So what was I doing before wholesaling? That was your question, right?
Right.
Well, before wholesaling, I guess we can rewind it all the way back to, I'm an older guy, 36 years old. So I graduated high school in 2007 and went to college just like everybody else in my hometown. Hometown is in Lexington. And then I graduated college and I tried a lot of different jobs. And I was in and out of just kind of different careers. I couldn't really find anything that stuck super well. And plus, I just make like a terrible employee anyway. So
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a very good employee at all. So that's why I decided to pick up on wholesaling. But I was working in industrial maintenance. In Kentucky, like there's a lot of factory stuff going on, and so my job was to fix the robots. Like the robots were building these circuit boards and things that were supposed to go into cars.
Right.
And while I was in industrial maintenance, I heard about like wholesaling because I was actually in the market to buy a house. I was just looking for a house to buy.
Okay.
And I heard about wholesaling because there was these guys on Facebook that were like, "Hey, I got a great deal. It's for sale." And it confused me because these guys weren't real estate agents or didn't appear to be real estate agents.
Right.
So I would like message some of these guys. I didn't know they were called wholesalers at the time.
Right.
But I would say, "Hey, I'm interested in your deals. What's going on with it?" And then like one of them I asked, I was like, "Hey, are you a real estate agent?" And he was like, "No, you don't have to be a real estate agent to wholesale." And I was like, "Oh, okay, it's interesting. I didn't know that."
Right.
But yeah, I started learning more about wholesaling. Once I like started to pick the brains of a couple wholesalers. This was around like 2016, 2017, something like that.
Did you buy one of those deals?
No, I didn't buy any deals from the wholesalers, but I couldn't have anyway. I was approved for like a conventional financing, so they would have probably just laughed me out the door. But
they could have done RVP if they'd known it.
Yeah, they could have done RVP if they'd known that was the thing.
Okay, so all right, so you're looking at this. You end up buying a house traditionally, right, with a real estate agent.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was under contract to buy a house that year. And then, unfortunately, my job fell through. And so I lost the financing.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah. I was going to buy a duplex. I was going to do the house hack thing.
Right.
then yeah, the job fell through. So the contract fell through. I couldn't close, and I ended up moving from Lexington to Louisville for a different job.
Got it.
Yeah, and then Louisville, I started learning more about wholesaling because I was like, oh, this wholesaling thing, I can do it on the side, because I can do industrial maintenance, in the daytime, and at nighttime I can look into this wholesaling thing and put the bandit signs out and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what compelled you to make the jump into actual real estate? Like, what was the thing that made you stop doing the industrial, or were you just doing it on the side?
At first, I was just doing it on the side, but the goal was always to eventually do it full time, because I knew I didn't like working in factories and stuff, and I didn't like holding a traditional full time job, and it was lots of, in my line of work, it was lots of overtime, lots of weekends, lots of holidays, lots of weird hours. So
it was really hard to even do a side hustle.
Yeah, so hard to do a side hustle even, but yeah, I just kind of wanted to do my own thing and just kind of be what they call financial freedom is what I was looking for.
So tell me about your first deal.
Yeah, so my first deal, it actually came from a bandit sign. So yeah, I had these bandit signs out, and then I put out a ton of them. I finally got a call from my bandit sign, and then I went to this guy's house. He was an older guy, and he was selling like a 2-bedroom house. And I remember I got it under contract for like 65K or something. And I got it under contract too high for that area at the time, and I was like trying to sell it to these cash buyers. They didn't want it.
Right.
And I had to renegotiate. And then the cash buyer that actually ended up buying it from me, I found this cash buyer from Craigslist. She ended up cutting me out of the deal.
Oh, wow.
And she went straight to this homeowner, and she closed with him. But luckily, like, the homeowner had been working with me for like 3 months because I was so bad at like trying to get this deal sold. And I had so many people over there, and I think the homeowner felt so sorry for me that he gave me like $2K.
Oh, wow.
From his proceeds. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty neat.
That's incredible. Okay, so you found a deal, bandit sign, did not do so well, bought it too high, had to renegotiate, and you successfully got it renegotiated.
Yeah.
And then you got cut out anyway.
Yeah, and I got cut out. Yeah.
Okay, so was that like demoralizing, discouraging, or you're like, all right, screw it, like on to the next one?
Yeah, I mean, it was discouraging, but I was really happy when I got paid, because I had a really good rapport with this homeowner, and I told him like, hey, I'm just going to try and make $2K off this. So I was pretty upfront in the beginning, and then when this lady cut me out, like, I think he didn't feel right about it, and so he met me at his house to pay me. He's like, hey, we closed, come get your money.
Yeah.
And I think he thought I was a realtor, but he was like, yeah, I told the lady that I need to go pay my realtor.
That's awesome.
And then so I'm like, whatever works, man. Yeah. It sounds good. So he meets me at his house, and he pays me in like all cash, $2,000 in like, fives and tens. And so it's like a giant stack of cash.
Okay.
And I felt pretty cool at the time. So
yeah,
I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. And plus that was like the first time I made money outside of my employer. Right. And so that was kind of like a really cool moment, because before I had just collected paychecks from the different companies I had worked for. But this time I actually got to receive money from something I did, like, as an entrepreneur. So even though it was only $2,000, it was a huge deal,
Well, for sure. And proof of concept is one of those things that I don't think is spoken enough of, right? Like, once it happens, once it's real, now you have the confidence to go do it again.
That's right.
So what was your next deal like?
My next deal was, this was actually after I left my job. So I ended up leaving that company I worked for. I worked for Kellogg's. It was actually the Girl Scout cookie plant in Louisville. But after that job fell through, I decided, okay, I'm tired of going to all these different jobs and moving around, and I just want to work for myself. So, I had just $7,000 in my bank account, and I was like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm going to do wholesaling full time.
Right.
Nowadays, people would look at you like you got three heads if you said you were going to wholesale full time with $7K in your bank account.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was too naive to even understand like that you need lots of money to be a competitive wholesaler. So what I did was I used Been Verified to look up phone numbers, and I used Deal Machine, and that was pretty much it. Just Been Verified and Deal Machine.
You're just driving for dollars.
So yeah, just driving for dollars. Yeah, driving for dollars, and then instead of using Deal Machine's like automatic send a postcard feature they had, I would just plug the address, the homeowner's name into Been Verified, give them a call, and I'd keep like a big spreadsheet of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I called a few people, and then I got this one guy that said he was interested in talking more about my offer on his house, and so he invited me to come by and meet him with his maintenance guys, and actually I was in Korea, the Kentucky Real Estate Investor Association, and this girl Ace, she offered to go to the appointment with me because I'm newer, she's more experienced, and so she took me, she went with me to this appointment and stuff, and she kind of helped me close because I come from like a industrial maintenance background. I wasn't closing anything. So her expertise was like a big help, especially in the very beginning. So,
for sure.
So I got to see kind of how she displayed like confidence and stuff and that sort of thing. And so she would help close this deal. And it was so long ago, I don't even know what we got under contract for.
Yeah.
But I think we made like, we actually made like 8K on it or something. And so we split like 4 apiece.
Got it. Okay. So Bandit signed for the first deal. Second deal, driving for dollars, skip tracing. At this point, you now closed 2 deals. This feels real?
Yeah, for sure.
It's a real business now.
It feels like it's a real business.
Okay. So when did it get good?
I'd say it probably got good. It started to feel like, hey, I could actually maybe make a career out of this. It was towards it was actually the winter time of 2018. It was close to Christmas. Christmas is notoriously dead for real estate wholesaling. But there was a guy I found driving for dollars. He was, we believe he was a drug addict. Like his house was super nice, but the house he lived in was just totally falling apart. Yeah, and in shambles, and he had like torn up the drywall and like just things like you would have no idea how somebody would do that to their house. So and he like dug holes in the front yard. Okay, and but anyways, we got his house under contract for like way cheaper than it was worth, like $30K. And then we resold it for like, I believe it was like 62-ish. Or no, it was actually like 65. And so yeah, we made 35K selling it to a cash buyer. And so we split like, over 17K a piece, me and Ace did. And so that was the most money I had at one time, like in one sitting, like before. So I was like, oh man, this is legit. Like, this is actually a way that I can make money, and make good money,
So what adversities did you face?
On
the beginning of your journey?
Well, lots of like not having enough money, and lots of late nights and, lots of just like having no idea what I'm supposed to be doing, and just being lost. And luckily I had a lot of friends along the way help me. in my early wholesaling journey. But actually there was one point where, my bank account was getting pretty low, and I called this girl, Savannah. I met her in one of these wholesaling groups. And I told her, like, oh man, I'm struggling in wholesaling. I'm not getting deals, that sort of thing. And she actually gives me the, like a username and password to log into Sean Terry's Flip to Freedom account.
Mm-hmm. Great.
So I pirated Sean Terry's Flip to Freedom Academy.
Right. Perfect. You and me.
Yeah. Zero. Yeah. Didn't pay a dime. And
does he know this?
No, but he does now. He does now. But the funny thing is, I use the knowledge in there to like get much better at wholesaling, and I eventually built up my funds enough to be able to, like, to actually buy his academy for real, and pay for his mastermind. I paid for his mastermind for like the last 3-4 years in a row. So joke's on me.
Yeah, he's made his money back.
Oh yeah.
So tight on cash. And then you basically just kind of have to hustle your way out of this hole, basically.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. And then getting Flip to Freedom Academy was like back in 1819?
Yeah, this would have been around like, I want to say 2019.
2019. And that was enough to kind of like give you the push to really make yourself out of this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now that you got this information, you got this going, what's next?
Obstacle I hear from newer wholesalers is finding buyers for their deals. Because unless you've built a massive buyers list or have a huge dispo team, you might struggle to move your deals. So when we started working with InvestorLive, we've been able to reach new buyers and sell deals faster at higher prices. We can see buyers in our area, their contact information, and with the new AI capabilities, connect with the buyers most interested in our deals based on the algorithms. We can also see who's clicked on our deals, how many pictures they clicked on, and how long they spent looking at it, and finally, what actions they took after engaging with our deals. We are now connected with thousands of buyers in our markets, and we now know exactly where we are with each deal and what next steps to take. If this sounds like something that would resolve or help your dispo process, I highly encourage you, go to the website, put in Disruptors for 10% off, so you can focus on locking up deals and less time worried, stressed, and frustrated about finding buyers.
So yeah, now I've got the information, and I've gone through like all these courses and stuff. Now I'm able to do what Sean Terry says to do on his academy, and I set up CallRail, and then I do like postcards with the CallRail tracking number, and then I do like the appointment. I think he called it like the covert special acquisitions appointment or something like that. You're supposed to do it with an iPad. I didn't have an iPad. I couldn't afford an iPad at the time, but I tried to do it as much like Sean Terry as I could.
Yeah. What's the covert appointment?
This is like back when in-person appointments were a thing, but you were supposed to go in person, and then you're supposed to show like a PowerPoint presentation of your company and how it works.
Right.
And then in this PowerPoint, you're supposed to have like before and after pictures of like houses you rehabbed or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to like make you look super professional. But I attempted to do like a version of that without the iPad, of course.
So it's a presentation on buying the house, or I guess making you the professional.
Yeah.
Making it easier to buy the house.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
So you show up to the homeowner's house, and you're like supposed to be the expert. And I didn't come off like an expert at all. Actually, most homeowners knew I had no idea like what I was looking at, so.
Well, I mean, you still made it.
If I still made it.
You still succeeded. So what do you attribute that to?
Just being stubborn enough to keep going, really.
Right.
Yeah. So, I did the in-person belly-to-belly appointments and stuff like that. And again, I took Ace to like a lot of appointments with me, because me and Ace were still doing JV deals.
Gotcha. From the Real Estate Association.
Yes, from the REIA. Yeah. The person I met from the REIA, we kept doing deals together because because again, like her background was sales, so she had like a sales background and stuff. I didn't, so and so she.
So you were finding the deals. She was locking them up. Were you going to the appointments?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you were still going.
Yeah, I was still going.
Locking them up.
Yeah, she was mostly locking them up. Sometimes she'd like give me a chance, like, hey, why don't you try to lock this one up? And sometimes like I would, but like kind of like having her there gave me extra confidence because I knew that she had been doing it longer than me.
Yeah.
And knew more about real estate.
When did your relationship with Ace end?
So yeah, we parted ways in 2020. So it was around like April or May 2020, something like that. So yeah, we were splitting every single deal, and it was very hard to grow the company, splitting every single deal 50-50. And I think we also had different ideas on how we wanted to run a real estate business. And so we parted ways as friends. And Ace still wholesales and does well. And yeah, I started hiring people, and because I was starting to keep 100% of the wholesale fee and all that stuff, I was actually able to use that money to hire like an acquisitions person.
Right.
So finally I could afford an acquisitions person. Before splitting everything 50-50, we couldn't afford.
Yeah, given up half, it's kind of hard to afford things. Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So once you split up, what challenges did you face? Because there are a lot of people that are, I'm looking at some people that might be listening that might be in partnerships that are afraid to end it. So what adversity did you have once you ended the partnership?
Well, now I had to find out, can I actually do this on my own? I was doing it with a partner before, and that was great, and that made me feel good. But now it's all on me, and so now I'm the only one to blame if this thing all comes crashing down.
Right.
So that was tough, kind of just having that pressure weigh on me, right? Sure. And again, I don't come from a sales background, so I had to show up on my own and actually like have the confidence, or at least pretend like I had the confidence,
right,
to close a deal in person by myself.
Okay.
So,
obviously that worked, but what were some? Can you think of any scenarios where like, I am butchering this, I made a mistake? Did you have doubts in this journey?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's why I was always paying for education and things like that. Yeah, I went to actually this boot camp. It was called like Blueprint boot camp or whatever. It was for like belly to belly sales and stuff. And so I was able to kind of get some confidence from that conference, from that training. And so from these trainings, like in these boot camps I was going to, I was kind of able to take that momentum into the appointment,
right,
and kind of have some extra confidence, in these appointments and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm sure I was still butchering things here and there, but not as bad as like before when I was newer.
Yeah, but now you have the funds to bring on an acquisitions manager. Is that the first hire you made?
Well, I had a cold caller. I think technically it was a cold caller. Was the first first person I hired.
Yeah.
And I tried to set up my business like TTP says you should set it up with you're hiring your cold callers, and your cold callers are getting you leads. And so very first hire was a cold caller from the Philippines, and he was on the Mojo triple line dialer. And so every single lead pretty much came from him.
Got it.
Unless it was direct mail. But yeah, my first in-person acquisitions hire, that came towards the end of 2020. So towards the end of 2020, I had done like I had several deals close. I had like 5 or 6 deals close in a month or two.
Yeah.
And so my bank account, I had like $60K extra in my account. And I was like, oh, this is great. I've got some cushion. And so I used that to hire my first acquisitions person who's still with me today.
Awesome.
Ryan. So yeah, shout out to Ryan Stone. He's great. And then actually Ryan Stone, he actually has moved up into like management sense. And so he he bought the vision early on and he's kind of like moved up the ranks.
That's great.
So,
when do things like take off for you? Because we're talking like some pretty big numbers right here, right? Like 5 million last year. You already done 1.1 this year, and like we've only finished 2 months in 2025, and you're hoping to double year over year. When did things take off for you?
Well, they started to take off in 2021 after I decided to end my in-person wholesaling business. Like I didn't want to be local anymore. I had people driving for dollars. I had people cold calling. I was sending out postcards, and yeah, the margins were just way too thin. So I knew I had to completely like just get rid of that business. So I let everybody go that was driving for dollars for me. I had like 5 people driving for dollars, let all of them go. I had like 4 cold callers, let all of them go. And then so I let everybody go except for Ryan. And he was
so this is like not a U-turn, but this is an abrupt turn.
Oh yeah,
it's a 90-degree turn. This is like, all right, this model we've been running that's given us success up to this point. By the way, we're doing everything different moving forward.
Yeah, like it was pretty much like totally just flatten the sandcastle and start from scratch.
Yeah,
is what we were
pretty
doing.
bold. Not everyone just changes everything, in the middle. What gave you the confidence to do that?
Well, we tried some from nationwide wholesaling. Not a lot, but we did. I think we were just kind of playing around with it, with getting like a lead here, a lead there, and we finally got one to close. Ryan was able to get it under contract. It was a deal in Mississippi.
Yeah,
and then we were able to wholesale it and make like $25K, and so and plus there was a lot of support at the time because you had Sean Terry's mastermind, Corey Geary had a mastermind of his own, Nick Perry did,
right.
So I had the confidence that it was working for these guys. They were doing it. Plus, we had proof of concept that we were able to close a deal in Mississippi, and we'd never been to Mississippi before.
Yeah.
So
right. Okay, so having the right mentors in place that are doing what you want to do, that certainly helps. And then you have proof of concept again. We were talking earlier the importance of proof of concept. So having 3 people to guide you on a nationwide PPC model, and then proof of concept, give you all the confidence you need to make this sharp turn.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Perfect. So you do that. Tell me about that journey. So like, when was this that you made this sharp turn?
So it was after Q1 2021.
Okay.
So it was going into Q2 of 2021.
Okay.
And this was after like one of Sean Terry's meetings. And at the time I was paying my cold callers like $15 an hour.
You're paying your cold callers?
Yeah, I was paying 15. Yeah, cold callers. Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay.
So,
you had 4 or 5 of those.
Yeah. So again, it was not a great business model. So it had to be broken down, and I had to restart.
So when did you have was it like you did this cold turkey, you switch, and then boom, it just works? Or what were some bumps along the way?
We noticed that it was easier to get properties under contract nationwide, because now we're talking to homeowners that don't have like everybody and their mother calling them trying to get a contract. So we noticed the contracts were easier to some extent.
Yeah.
But then the selling of the contracts was what was tough, right?
Oh yeah.
Because now we have to sell a wholesale deal to places we don't have any cash buyers in, and so we tried a few different things that we learned from our masterminds and things like we tried calling realtors to try and see if they have cash buyers, and we sold a couple like that. But we weren't making like very big spreads yet. I mean, we were still making maybe 10, 15K from these off-market wholesale deals nationwide, right? And then it actually wasn't until novations started becoming a thing that we actually started making like really good money wholesaling.
Right.
So so novations was the answer to not having any cash buyers in Pocono, Texas, right?
Is that real city, Pocono?
I don't know, probably.
Okay. All right. So locking up deals is a lot easier, and then the adding novation. So, and like, it's funny, like I am in Phoenix, and I think this is, if it's not the most competitive, it's got to be top 3.
Oh yeah.
And when we're doing a lot of cold calling, every homeowner knew the TTP script, right? Like they could repeat it word for word before you even finished it.
Yeah.
And I remember like I did a competition with RJ Bates, and we were getting leads, I think from Lead Zolo. No, it was from Aaron Bevins. And I was actually talking to people in Louisville, all places.
Okay.
And it was funny. I was like, we locked up like 5 houses on the phone there. And what was interesting to me was they were so darn nice, right? They weren't rude. Like I'm just used to everyone being rude, right? In Phoenix, when I'm talking to you about buying your house, I just expect you to be rude. That's how jaded we've gotten with it. But we noticed in Kentucky and Mississippi, everyone is so much nicer. In Alabama, everyone is so much nicer than Phoenix. And then my own organization, for a bit, we were doing nationwide as well. And then we were using Lead Zolo for that. And we were locking up contracts left and right. But what you were saying, we were having a hard time moving deals. It's a different animal, right? Like belly to belly, we can lock up these. It's harder to lock them up. We do, but it's harder. But once you lock them up, it's pretty easy to move.
Yeah.
Nationwide, it's a lot easier to lock them up, but moving them is the challenge. And
exactly.
So novations helped you. So talk to me about what it was like when you added novations to your process.
Hey, Disruptors, if you're struggling to scale your business due to a lack of capital for your deals, this message is for you. I've been part of the Collective Genius Mastermind for over 4 years now, and one of the biggest benefits I get as a member is access to 100% financing for fix and flips. If you're doing at least 10 deals a year, want to network with top-tier investors from across the country, and need access to 100% financing to continue scaling, go to 100percentmoney.com. I've had my friend and CEO of the Collective Genius, Jason Medley, put together a short video with all the details. That's at 100percentmoney.com.
Yeah, it was a total game changer. Well, our average deal size basically doubled because we went from making like 10 to 12K to like now we're making like 22 to 30K, right? And it was, like I said, total game changer because now we didn't have to have these cash buyers on our cash buyer list that we're depending on, right? And now what I actually like most about it is we don't have to worry about getting lowballed as much because cash buyers, like, they usually lowball the wholesalers, right?
Of course.
So, because they want a deal, right? They're flippers. But these are people that want to actually live in the home. So, in a lot of cases, especially like when it was really hot of a market, like in 2021, 2022, you have homeowners that are bidding like 20, 30K over what your asking price is, right?
Oh, yeah, it's a good time.
So it's a whole different ball game.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so in your innovation process, so talk to me about what your organization looks like at this moment in time when you add innovation. So it's you, Ryan. You have more acquisition people or just Ryan?
So we have, last I checked, I want to say
I'm saying at this time when you added innovations to the process.
Oh, at around 2021?
Yeah.
When we added novations to the process in 2021, it was Ryan and 2 other guys. Ryan was, he wasn't like a manager yet at that point. He was just locking up deals like everybody else. We had like 3 acquisitions guys, and then we had one dispo person.
Right. And that one dispo person was finding all the cash buyers.
Yeah, well, they until we switched to novations, of course, because once we switched to novations, we just started listing everything and finding buyers that way.
So were you guys using flat fee agents, or were you guys actually using realtors in these markets?
Mostly flat fee. Yeah, it was mostly flat fee companies, and then sometimes real estate agents if we can't find a flat fee company.
So who's is it Dispo then still running the deal when the flat fee agent's involved?
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still Dispo doing all the negotiation and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in this situation, Dispo is grossly underrated. Like, for whatever reason, our industry acquisitions, like the wide receiver, like they get all the accolades, you know, I don't want to say diva, but like, you know, they get all the celebration, all the trophies, right?
Yeah.
But Dispo has to be good to move the deals. Like, no one's getting paid if Dispo doesn't move the deals.
That's true.
And I think they're grossly underrated. So once you went to novations, I mean, how hard was it? Was it easier or harder for your Dispo person to manage the deal flow?
Well, it was easier in the sense that they didn't have to wonder, like, did I contact enough cash buyers or not, type of thing. And when I did Dispo myself, that was always in the back of my mind. If we didn't sell a deal, like, okay, is it the deal or is it me? Because there might be a cash buyer that actually wants it, but I just haven't called him yet. Right. So just that, like, removing that unknown part of it, like,
sleep better
was better. It makes you sleep better. So it's because now they're all listed, and if it's not a deal, you know, no one's going to want it.
You'll know pretty fast.
So it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was actually in some ways it was harder to manage, like, some of especially the busier properties, because at the time we had one Dispo person. Her name was Nicole, and she had all these buyers and agents, like, calling her phone. We'd have, like, you know, 20, 30 deals listed, and she's got all these all these people calling her phone, trying to get inside the property, and so it was stressful for her, and so eventually we started hiring Dispo assistants, so, like, basically virtual assistants that take these inbound calls and then get the buyer agent the lot box code or the access instructions. And that way the Dispo person can just worry about negotiating.
The important stuff.
Yeah, the important stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've heard people sometimes when they add novations to their process is that they didn't know it was going to require a lot more administrative work. You get more money, but it takes longer, and you do probably more than double the work.
Yep.
Right? So it's a point of consideration, because I think you got to do novations. You do a nationwide PPC, but just something to always, like, be aware of.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was tough, especially when I was the one doing Dispo, because you have to fill out all the seller disclosure stuff and the listing agreement, and it's just paperwork on top of paperwork. So, and salespeople don't like paperwork.
Salespeople don't like paperwork, and you got to deal with every single brokerage and what their policy is, and every different title company, and explain novations to them. They've never done it before.
Oh yeah, and that was fun too. It's like when we were trying to assign the deal, and then the buyer agent is like, "Oh, I don't know about this assignment stuff. I've heard that's illegal." And then,
of course, yeah.
And then you lose your buyer, and you got to find a new one.
So, all right, so you do this. This is the first pivotal change, and, you know, again, kudos. Like, you made, like, some major changes, right? So first pivotal change, well, the first one's moving away from your partner, completely changing your model, and then adding novations. So that's, like, three pretty major significant changes in, like, not a very long period of time, like within, like, 18 months.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Any other major pivotal changes?
Yeah, I mean, this is one I don't talk about a whole lot. But yeah, we started hiring more overseas people. We still have Americans on our team, and the Americans are still great performers with acquisitions and Dispo and stuff. But we started hiring more overseas people because we found that we can actually train people in, like, the Philippines and Egypt and stuff to help us with this virtual model. And so today we have, you know, at least half of our guys are overseas on the acquisition side. We've got guys from Pakistan, Egypt, Philippines, and a lot of some of them actually are doing just as good, if not better, than our American people. So
It's kind of wild.
mm-hmm.
Jacob.
Jacob.
In Sean Terry's group.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to him because like his entire business is virtual.
Yeah.
And I was talking to him, I was like, I don't know about this model. I'm not sure. Like, I know your numbers look really good, but I don't know, right? I'm skeptical.
Yeah.
And I had a chance to work with his team. All right, so we're coaching his sales team. And I cannot tell the difference.
Wow.
Right? Like, I'm listening to them. I was like, man, these guys are good. I know they're not American because I can see them on my screen. But if I couldn't see them on my screen, I wouldn't know that they're not American.
Right.
It is wild how close that gap is.
Oh, yeah.
Between non-American and American on the phones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is wild. And that's actually, Jacob was the one that inspired me to kind of go more that direction. Because, he's in Sean's mastermind as well.
Yeah.
And most people and their KPIs show maybe 20-30% profit margin, and then Jacob gets up there, he's like 75% profit margin.
Yeah.
And me and Sean are like, what in the world are you doing, man?
Right.
And so he actually told us about his overseas strategy, and he actually did a whole presentation one day telling us exactly how he does it. I don't do it Jacob's way. We did it for a little bit temporarily, but it was still super helpful.
Okay, so the fourth major pivot is now doing VAs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, I was having a conversation with Nick Perry. I had lunch with him last week. He was talking about how he's going to have two different teams, the Americans and the non-Americans.
Oh, nice.
And he was like, he was going to do everything he can to see if he can get the non-Americans to beat the Americans.
Okay.
It's a crazy world, crazy time.
It is a crazy time.
Yeah.
So, he's moved to Phoenix now to do wholesaling is what I heard. So he's going to have a virtual team and an in-person team. Is what he's doing.
Yeah, I don't know the exact details. I just know he's in Scottsdale. And it's like, man, this is crazy.
Wow. So that's cool.
All right, so then 5 million. So you did 5 million last year.
Yeah.
It's a crazy number. Not a lot of people are hitting those kinds of numbers, right? A lot of people be pretty happy to do, 1.5, 2 million.
Oh, yeah.
So you do 5 million revenue. What does your operation look like to be able to do 5 million in revenue?
That's an awesome question. So at the time of us doing 5 million, I want to say we had about 10 acquisitions guys, and we had about 3 dispo people. And then we, of course, have a transactional coordinator, and she actually doubles as a dispo manager too.
Okay.
And then we've got a ton of virtual assistants that just act as support. They don't really sell or anything. So we have 3 virtual assistants that are helping with just taking all the inbound calls for these dispo people, so they don't get overwhelmed.
Right.
And they work weekends and stuff as well. And then we have 2 other virtual assistants. Their whole job is to get the documents we need for the flat fee companies and for the agents. They pretty much just bug sellers all day, every day, and ask them where their seller disclosure is and where their listing agreement is and IDs, all that stuff.
Like a follow-up specialist for the title company.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then if the homeowner is too elderly or isn't great with computers, they'll fill out the forms for the homeowner and just have them DocuSign later. And then of course we have dispo assistants. We had about 3 of those, and their whole job is just digging through Podio and trying to find somebody motivated enough to sell, and then they'll transfer it to our closers, so our closers can close. So.
Wow. Okay. So, right now, are you strictly PPC?
Yeah, right now it's all PPC. I haven't done a direct mail campaign in probably like 3 years.
Okay. So 100% PPC.
Mm-hmm.
Are you using a third-party company?
No, so I do that all myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's great third-party companies out there, but I think if somebody can learn to do it on their own, they'll have probably the best results.
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
Okay. So doing it on your own, which, I did that back in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
It's evolved a lot faster in the last few years than it did when I was first doing it, 10 plus years ago.
Oh, yeah.
What resources do you use to learn how to get good at PPC?
So yeah, again, the masterminds are a great resource.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Sean's been great at teaching PPC over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick was the one that actually helped me get started because I was like terrified of Google ads and like how fast it can burn your money.
Oh,
and,
it can burn it pretty fast.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And so yeah, Nick was able to help. He did like like when his mastermind first opened up, he did like a call with somebody showing him how his campaigns are. Mm-hmm. And so he helped me kind of get started. And then I also looked up things from like Neil Patel and did some calls with some like Google ads support people.
Okay. So this is your genius zone.
Yeah. So yeah, this was like, I was really interested in this PPC stuff, Yeah. So I worked hard on that.
Would it be bold to say that of all the things that have to happen inside your wholesaling company, this right here is where like your magic is?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, the PPC is a big part of like what's necessary to grow the organization,
Yeah.
Because without leads, you have no like lifeline, you're done.
So would you recommend learning PPC to other people?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they should learn PPC, especially if they're thinking about going nationwide or doing like the virtual model. I will say though, with the local model and belly to belly sales, PPC is very expensive, and I could never get a local PPC campaign to perform the same way I can get a nationwide campaign to perform.
So explain why that is.
I think it's because of just the high concentration of competition, and you've got everybody, in Louisville that's trying to get leads, and they're all bidding on the same keywords, and so yeah, that cost per lead just goes up and up, and it's probably even worse in Phoenix.
It's pretty bad in Phoenix.
Yeah. So Sean actually told me that Google PPC used to be like super cheap. I mean, it's not anymore, but he said he was getting Phoenix leads for like $50 a lead or something.
Less than that. Less than that. Yeah, because back when it was me and Sean, it was $2 and change per click and $12 and change per lead.
Wow.
Yeah. If I go back in time, right? Or if I can just bring those numbers back into today, be printing money.
Oh yeah. That's awesome. Well, it's not like that now.
No, it's not like that anymore. So, in fact, Sean Terry, who was on the show, I want to say about a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago, he talked about if he had to rely on PPC in just Phoenix alone, he would have to seriously consider shutting down his business.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And that was the reason why he went nationwide. And then you're saying the same thing. Because you're in multiple markets, you can play. And it's not that you can't buy deals in Phoenix or Louisville. It's just you're not getting as many of those as some of the other markets.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so then how many states are you in right now?
So we've done deals, and last I checked, it was 48 out of the 50 states.
So you're in 40 out of 50 states?
Yeah.
Okay, so then do you have multiple campaigns, one for like major markets, one for secondary markets, one for tertiary markets, or how do you decide to split up the budget?
Yeah, so it's much simpler than that.
Much simpler than that. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's just pretty much I have all these campaigns targeting like certain keywords, and then they're all they're all nationwide campaigns. Like Google will let you do a nationwide campaign. And then
So it's just a straight United States campaign.
Yeah, just a straight United States campaign. And then if I have problems with a certain state, or if I'm getting like a lot of too rural leads in a certain county, I'll go in there and block it. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Wow. Okay. So just one nationwide campaign, and then you'll block out certain zip codes, perhaps.
Yes. Well, it's multiple campaigns at like different budgets and stuff. But like I may have like one campaign that's like $100 per day, and this campaign's like $500 per day. And then there'll just be very slight differences between the campaigns.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know like when Brandon Bateman was here, he was talking about the way you have to like block off all the areas like don't have lights on at night, right? Like for example.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You don't have anything like that. It's just like this area sucks. Just don't bid over here.
Yeah, and I haven't done that in honestly a long time. But yeah, when I had time to actually go into my PPC hardcore, I would just kind of go through my CRM and I'd say, okay, I'm getting a bunch of leads from this part of the U.S. And when you look on Google Maps, it's just like nothing but like desert and like maybe some trailer parks.
Right.
Like, yeah, we don't want to do deals there, so we'll go ahead and block that one.
How much time would you say? So it's two different questions here. How much time would you say you spent today managing a PPC, and how much time would you say you spent in the beginning on working a PPC?
Yeah, in the beginning, I spent quite a bit of time on it. If I had to put like an exact number on it, I'd say in the beginning I was spending at least like 10 hours a week probably on PPC. And now that it's actually running and I don't have to mess with it a whole lot. I mean, I probably spend now like probably less than like 20, 30 minutes a day on average. Like, so not a whole lot of time on it.
And then what do we say now? This is your highest leverage activity?
Yeah, well, PPC and then hiring.
Hiring. Okay. So let's talk about that. So we already talked about how you're getting your leads. You're doing Dispo through innovations. You were talking about your structure. Okay, so let's talk about building the organization. So how's that journey been? Pretty easy, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it's been fun. So
I was being sarcastic.
oh yeah. It's definitely been a journey. So so one of the first things I had to do when it comes to building the organization is obviously fire myself. The first job I fired myself from was acquisitions. Ryan took my job at acquisitions.
You're probably excited about that.
I was loving it, yeah. And then I was doing Dispo, and then when I hired Nicole back when she worked for me, she took over Dispo for me, and then I fired myself from Dispo. Was very thankful for that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, fired myself from TC when I hired Tara. And then, it's been really good. But basically, right now, I do mostly like the hiring and look at the KPIs, and that's the next thing. That's the next big task that I'm going to have to replace myself with. Probably sooner rather than later, because it takes up lots and lots of my time. Because like I said, I got 3-4 recruiters sending me people like constantly, and so
explain that. 3 to 4 recruiters.
Yeah.
Are these just straight headhunters, or you're paying them like a regular retainer?
Yeah. So a couple of them are just headhunters. But I still pay them, like they work hourly. So I don't know if they qualify still as like a headhunter, because I guess a headhunter is only supposed to get paid when you hire somebody.
Yeah, they get like 30-40% of the salary.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, they don't work that way with me. I pay them like hourly and stuff, and they send me leads of people that like would make good candidates in my company. And then I give them the thumbs up or thumbs down if we're going to interview them. And then if I think they would make a good candidate, they usually will interview with Ryan first or Tara first. And then if they pass that interview, then they'll do one with both me and Tara or both me and Ryan. And then, of course, before Ryan, they have to interview with the recruiter.
Right.
Because, yeah.
Why 4 different recruiters, though?
Well, because I just don't want to get rid of any of them. You know what I mean?
So they've all done good work?
Yeah, for the most part. I only had one recruiter that I was not happy with, and I let that one go.
Well, I guess let me be clear. They work for you? Like they work at your, or they're a third party?
Yeah, great question. So I have 2 full-time only working for me.
Okay, so 2 recruiting employees.
Yeah, employees. And then I have 2 that are just kind of like freelance, right? So I have one that works like 15 hours a week, and then one that works like 20 hours a week.
Got it.
And yeah, they just tell me how much they worked for the week, and they bill me.
Okay. So talk to me about the 2 right now that you have internally. What are their roles and responsibilities?
Yeah, so they're on LinkedIn and they're on Indeed, and they're just they're posting jobs, they're messaging people to see if they'd be interested in an opportunity to work somewhere else, and then they're going through our assessments. We have every candidate that wants to apply take an assessment. So they have to go through the assessments, and they'll go through kind of like the top assessments, and then kind of go through their interviews. Everybody does like a one-way video interview if they want to work for me, answering different questions. If they think their interview went well and their test went well, they'll interview them themselves, and then they'll send it to me. And then I'm kind of like quality control, making sure I agree with their selections and stuff.
Yeah. One-way interview, meaning they're just answering the questions. Like there's not actual like back and forth with another person.
Yeah, no, not yet. So when they first apply, they'll take some tests. It'll test like their computer skills, test like their typing speed, test their like English ability, problem solving, just things like that. And then when it gets to the interview part, I've never actually taken it myself, but I believe they put their webcam on, and then like a question will pop up, and they just kind of answer it and record their answer.
Okay, I haven't seen that before. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
But then the 2 in-house recruiters, they're just they're not just taking applications. Like they're actually reaching out, talking to people that are employed, and seeing if they're interested in a career change.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you have to. I actually learned this from Scott Oots. Scott Oots said the people that are applying to your position are usually not the ones you want to be hiring.
Right.
And I'd say that is true to like a certain extent. Of course, we've found great people that were unemployed for no fault of their own, and now they work for us. But it is true that like you'll find better candidates if you're actually talking to people that already have jobs and seeing if they want to take an opportunity to work for you. But that's not a tip to steal my employees or anything.
Yeah. Well, it's true though. I mean, we all know this. Like, it's been an accepted fact that the people that are applying for your jobs are applying for a reason, right? Yeah. And then people that are happy or people that are really good generally are not looking for a job. Generally, not always true, but generally. So they're going on LinkedIn and they're just reaching out to people.
Yeah, LinkedIn and like Facebook and Indeed, but really, I think only LinkedIn tells you the people that are like currently employed.
How do you like? What are some things that you guys look for? Like, for example, one of my favorite things is debt collector.
Right? Oh yeah, we love debt collector.
Yeah, you got debt collection experience. Fantastic. What are the things you're looking for when you're reaching out to people?
Yeah, so if we're looking at their profile, we want to see that they've had a lot of jobs in the similar skill set. So like if it's a sales job we're looking to fill, we want to see like lots of sales jobs over the years. We want to see someone that's like staying for a few years at a time, not someone that's hopping around a lot.
Yeah, some loyalty.
Yeah. And that's really what we look for like a profile, like quick profile snapshot.
Yeah.
And then of course, when they interview, we want somebody that's coachable, and we want somebody that is confident. And then we want somebody that doesn't have like a big ego or anything, because I think everyone like that's done wholesaling for a while and had a team has always had experience with a person that's a great salesman but has a big ego. And it's very hard to manage somebody like that.
We find a lot of those in this industry.
Oh yeah,
And the realtor industry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier some of the top assessments. Which assessments do you like the most, or what are some of your favorite assessments in screening a candidate?
Yeah, we've used a few different ones, but the one we've used the most is we use the Tuscarora assessment. Yeah, Tuscarora, it's very customizable, and they have like all these different tests for like admin jobs or recruiting jobs, sales jobs. They even have tests if you want to like assess somebody for like a tech job, you can give them like a coding test and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
All right. Now, your goal is to double, right? And again, you're already at 1.1 just 2 months into the year. What's going to be different in 25 versus 24?
Well, in 2025, we actually have, I feel like we have finally enough people for the amount of leads we're getting.
Okay.
Right. So we get like, lately it's been like 350 leads a week.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. So when our team was smaller last year, we had a lot more deals fall through the cracks. Our dispo people were keeping track of the homeowner and trying to sell the deal. And we noticed a lot of times the homeowner would call a dispo person and couldn't get a hold of our dispo person.
Yeah, it's not good.
And then so we would lose the deal because the homeowner would get upset with us. And then like same thing on buy side, we'd have buyers try and submit their offers, and then again our dispo guys were so bogged down they weren't getting back to these people. So we hired 2 more dispo people, and then we hired some client relations department. Client relations is our newest department. Their whole job is to hold the seller's hand throughout the whole process of getting their house sold.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow. Okay, so one person just for that.
Yeah.
They're not doing TC, they're not doing dispo, they're just there for the homeowner.
That's right.
Wow, that's different.
Yeah, and their job is probably the most stressful out of everybody's.
Oh yeah, definitely the most stressful because they're talking to the person that's the most stressed in this transaction.
Yeah, exactly. So we hire people that are that seem like they're very like people friendly and people that have maybe done customer service in the past, that sort of thing. Just very likable people have that job.
Yeah, you got to be. That's awesome. So, we haven't really we talked about, or I've asked a lot of questions, right, about like what your structure looks like today. What have I not asked for, someone that's watching who wants to, be able to do nationwide PPC or do 5-10 million? What question have I not asked about your business that maybe someone should know? Today's podcast is brought to you by motivatedleads.com. With them, you can get $300 worth of quality local leads sent exclusively to your inbox by just mentioning my name. I've used them, and they're one of the best producers of solid seller leads on a local level. And they fully guarantee the leads that they send you. To get your $300 free credit, just head over to motivatedleads.com, hit the claim your area button, and let them know that I sent you.
Oh, a question that you didn't ask that somebody should know. Well, I think I'm living proof that like you don't have to be like a genius or like super talented to have a successful wholesaling business. And so yeah, so I think a lot of people would probably want to know that like it doesn't take anything super special to be able to do this. But it does take hard work.
Right.
So yeah, I was never the most like talented or anything like that, but I knew I could work hard and I was willing to put in the hours, especially before I had a wife and a little one. I was putting in all kinds of hours. Now I can't do that so much, but anybody willing to put in the work and actually like get mentors, pay the mentors. I mean, if you can find a multi-million-dollar mentor to mentor you for free, more power to you. I don't know anyone that's doing that, but yeah, just pay what it costs. It'll be worth it in the end. If you go with like Sean Terry or Nick Perry or any of these guys that have proven like wholesaling models, like you'll be all right.
Yeah. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. So what does your life look like now versus, when you first got started? I mean, you mentioned a wife, little one. Like, how different is your life today?
Oh yeah, it's very different. So, so as I mentioned, like I don't work as much as I used to. In the early days, I was working like all the time, and it was like nonstop.
Right.
And sometimes I kind of miss that, because I'm like, yeah, this is like our grind season and stuff. But now I pretty much, everyone works from home. My whole team just works.
You have an entirely virtual team, no office.
Yeah, no office. So everybody works from home on their computer, and we all communicate through Discord. So we're like a bunch of nerdy gamers, like getting on with our headsets and talking about deals. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I work like way less than I used to. I work maybe like 48 hours a week if I'm having a good week. But I wish I could work more, but again, you got a family. It's like a lot harder to work those 60-hour weeks.
100%. What freedom has real estate afforded you?
Well, definitely the freedom to kind of make my own schedule has been great. And like for example, over Christmas time last year, me and the wife and the little one, we went to Turks and Caicos.
Oh, nice.
And while I was doing that, the team was able to hold things down, and we were still closing deals, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, it's a great feeling when deals are still closing and you're not the one closing them.
Oh, 100%.
It's amazing.
It's the best. And then what is your epic life goal?
My epic life goal. Well, I would like to keep working on my wholesale business, but I want to have enough money to like be able to retire, to make work optional.
Right.
I think that would be the ultimate goal. At first, my goal was to just be able to make enough money and keep making that money to not have to work for another company. And then once I was able to do that, now I'm like, okay, now I have to get like work as optional money. But yeah, I'm interested in like all sorts of different business things, and I think it's cool that people do like startups and venture capital and like M&A, mergers and acquisitions, whatever. I love all that stuff. It's great.
How far away are you from being able to make work optional?
How far? I feel like I'm very far, but yeah, to me, recently, I think I calculated that like if I had like 8 figures in net assets or whatever, just cash and stocks and whatever, and you get a 10% return, then that's like enough money to more than like do whatever you want for the rest of your life, right? So so I'm still a little bit a ways from that, but I think if I can continue to grow and continue to like expand this business, and like maybe find some other ways to generate income, I think it's possible I could get there in like 7-8 years.
7 years. I mean, I would say this trajectory probably a lot sooner than that.
Hopefully, that'd be great.
What's your biggest struggle today?
My biggest struggle today, I'd say definitely just kind of the work-life balance thing, because I've got an almost 2-year-old now and stuff, and wife, and yeah, I'm not in the days where I can just wake up, work, and eat like one time, and then just keep working until like midnight, right, or whenever. So and so yeah, like when you're like really grinding at that level, like it seems like the amount of money you can make is unlimited, right?
Right.
but now you got a family, right? You have to think about them. You have to think about what's good for them, and that may not be good for them, right? So
Yeah. So okay, what are you doing about that?
Well, actually, me and my wife, we came up with a solution recently. So now I get a grind day on Friday. Friday gets to be my work as long as you want day. So
Compromise.
Yeah, it's a compromise.
Yeah, I like that.
So that's helped a lot.
Yeah. Gotcha. And then how would you measure success?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. I think anybody that's doing what they love is successful. Yeah, anybody that's doing what they love, and even if they're not at the destination, but they're kind of in the process, to me, that's success.
Yeah.
Anybody that is willing to take a risk or do something they're not sure they can do and still do it with a smile on their face is winning.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with that. What is your superpower?
My superpower? Oh, that's a tough one. I think one of my superpowers is being able to hire really good people. Yeah, I actually went to school for human resources, and I couldn't get a human resources job out of college, but now I get to do it in my own company. So
Yeah.
so there you go.
How did you go from human resources to working on robots?
Well, yeah, that's the thing is nobody was hiring human resources people when I graduated. I graduated in 2011. This was very close to the recession.
Oh yeah.
And so nobody was hiring for anything. And then I worked all these different odd jobs throughout the years. And I met some guys doing industrial maintenance. And they recommended that I go to school for that so that I can actually make some decent money.
Different field.
Oh yeah, very different.
Yeah.
But it paid really good.
Yeah, well, it always does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It paid good. It is in the trades, and those guys' hourly rate goes up every year.
Yeah, that's an underrated. Somehow, still people don't know about trades. What's your biggest regret?
My biggest regret, the only regret I can think of is that I didn't know about wholesaling in college.
Yeah.
Because, I was in Bowling Green, and nobody in Bowling Green was really talking about entrepreneurship or wholesaling or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So really, that's it.
Oh, that makes sense. Which failure did you learn the most from?
Failure I learned the most from? That's a good question. Probably my first business. My very first business that I tried as a side hustle was a Amazon business.
Like an e-com?
Yeah, like e-com. So I reached out to this manufacturer in China. They made me a bunch of chalk bags for rock climbing.
Okay.
And I was going to make $1 million chalk bag business on Amazon. Didn't work out.
Yeah.
I think I either lost money or broke even. But yeah, I learned that it's a lot easier to make money in the service businesses than it is the e-com businesses.
Yeah. Why is that?
Well, because a product business, especially you're shipping these products from China and stuff, and they're having to make them in bulk, and you can't really modify it the way you can a service business, right?
Yeah. You can't customize it as much.
If someone thinks your service sucks, then you can change it.
Right.
You can change it overnight.
Yeah.
Someone thinks your product sucks. Okay, we've got to go back to the drawing board, and is this going to set us back probably another 6 months?
Product's the product.
Yeah, product's the product.
Yeah. We already have a bunch of them in stock in the store or in the warehouse. Can't go back and just change all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I learned that e-com was probably not going to be for me.
Yeah, I mean, another thing too, I've got some friends that have been in e-com, and it's the inventory that kills them. It's the we can't move this one anymore, but it's still on the books. Yeah. What book have you gifted more than any other?
Well, I gifted the 10X rule to a few people. I don't know if they read it or not. but I really liked that book, especially when I was like newer to the wholesaling entrepreneurship world and stuff. And I'm also a big fan of Think and Grow Rich. Sean Terry got me onto that book.
Yeah.
And then Cybernetics, that's a great book too. The classics.
No, they're great books.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I'm trying to think. Like the first time I went through the 10x rule, I guess the only time I went through it, the first half just did nothing for me, but in the second half, like it all clicked.
Oh,
right.
nice.
And I probably say it should probably be the 100x rule. Like,
yeah.
No matter what you think it is, it's gonna be way harder. Like 10, I'm not even sure 10 does it justice. Like, you know, this is probably very discouraging, but when people ask me, like, you know, like, what should they know? It's like, it's going to suck for a lot. It's going to suck a lot for a long time.
Yeah.
Before it pays off. You better love it. Because if you don't love it, you're not ready to eat crap all day, don't start it. It's going to suck a lot for a long time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, okay, well, that's really helpful. Really, really appreciate it. Now, you mentioned, you know, Nick Perry and Sean Terry. And like, you know, they were really helpful for you, and you wanted to pay it forward in some respect. So, you want to talk about how that would work?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So yeah, anybody that wants like a consult, if you want me to give insights on how you can grow your business and do numbers like what I'm doing, I literally just today made a website, the mattrostosky.com website, and you can do. We have some booking links there, 30-minute, an hour appointments you can do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not free. I didn't get my information for free, so unfortunately, I can't give mine away for free either. Wish I could, but there's only one of me. So.
Yeah. Right. And you know, your time is actually worth something. You're doing big numbers. And I mean, when Sean's asked me to come into the mastermind a few times, you know, to share and speak whatever. And so like when I go, I stick around for a bit. I mean, I can see like you're one of the leaders in there. So, you know, someone watching this right now might think, oh, you know, like, you know, who is this guy? Why should I listen to him? But like, you're doing big numbers. You're just unassuming.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not the loudest.
You're not the loudest, but you're doing big numbers.
That's right. Yeah. It's the quiet guy you got to watch out for.
Yeah. So I appreciate you coming on. Guys, if you got value today, please subscribe, share, give us a 5-star review. Anything and everything helps. Again, we're creating millionaires, and we would appreciate your help along the way. Any last thoughts you want to leave all the listeners with?
Yeah, just that, if you're new and coming up in the game, definitely network a lot. There was a ton of people that helped me that I networked with before I could actually afford to pay coaches and stuff. There were still people that were in my network that were a huge help to me. Yeah. And it's like that saying goes, no man is an island. So I think that's just very, very true, and especially the wholesaling game. Yeah. There's just been so many people that have helped me out on the way, you know, and it's like I can't even name them all on the podcast, but yeah, they were all essential to me getting to where I'm at now. Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on and sharing. Thank you. Like, I mean, you're sharing like you used to listen to this.
Oh yeah.
Right. And saying one day you come out, like for me, like that is one of the things that like, it's incredibly fulfilling for myself, you know, producing a show. Cause like you put it out there, who's listening, we don't know. Like we see the analytics, we know people are listening, people are watching, but we don't always know who it is. And even more importantly, we don't know who it's impacting.
Yeah.
Right. So I appreciate you coming on, you know, fulfilling your goals, fulfilling my goals, sharing your story, sharing your lessons. Incredibly awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, and thank you, Steve.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
Shout out to Steve Trang. Jump on the Steve Trang. Disruptors.